Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Susan Lynn. I'm a spirit navigator and a psychic medium, and I predict politics, which is one of the things I'm going to be doing today. Thank you for tuning in, and thank you for sending your questions. This is part 2. Sorry it took me a minute to get back to do this. I had a busy weekend with my membership. I have over 700 members in my membership, and we had a busy weekend together and kind of put my schedule a little behind schedule, if you will. So let's get started. I'm going to get to some of your questions here. Today happens to be the 26th of November, but whenever you're watching this, it is the right time to be watching it. Okay, question. I like Miss Bridget says, is there still a chance for us to have our Madam President Harris? Will the MAGA House of Cards fall? Yes. So there has been an energy change. You guys, everybody has free will. I can't make Kamala Harris do anything. I can't make Biden do anything. I can't make Jack Smith or Garland do anything. All I can do is try to read their likelihood of what they're thinking or what their energy suggests that they will do. So there is a change afoot. Again, this is the 26th of November. I see something around the first, maybe the second week of December, like the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, but all the way into the 18th, 19th, a revealing of energy, a revealing of a plot. They're saying like a plot to destroy America. By the way, if you're new here, I'm channeling 60% spirit guides, 40% Susan. A plot to destroy America, to unseat. Oh, right. Unseat Kamala Harris, right? Unseat the victor is what they're saying. So there'll be a revealing of something. Now, the thing that I think is really frustrating, the 40% that Susan, is that, and this is what I'm getting, I hope I'm wrong, but what I'm getting is nobody has any appetite or any desire to talk about the ELECTIOM. I can't say certain words because the video 2 videos ago where I said all the words, well, YouTube said, you said all the words, and it throttled my video. So what's the use of doing a video if nobody can see it? So they don't want to talk about it. They don't want to talk about how it was stolen. I've talked about this in my last video. The reason being is because they don't want to upset America. They don't want us to look weak. They don't want us to look like we're rubes, that we're stupid, that we could be so easily, it's so easy to steal the presidency of the United States of America. It's so easy. Anybody can do it. Yes, it happened, but they don't want to admit it. So what they would rather do is fix it without anybody knowing that it was broken. So like, let's say you break something of your spouse and you're like, holy smokes, I've got to go to the store and replace this, like right now, because you don't want them to know that you broke it. We've all been there. Let's admit it, right? So that's what they want to do. They want to fix it without anybody knowing that it was broken. But at the same time, they understand that Rome is burning, that we're in big trouble. And what is happening right now is you see this in real life, but also energetically. So in real life, you see the Senate voting for John Thune instead of a MAGA to run the Senate. So that's your first clue. You also see a lot of the senators saying, we're not going to approve Matt Gaetz. That was the second clue, right? So what you're seeing is senators, people with real power, saying, no, we're not going to go along with this. We're not going to join forces with this madman, right? The first version of 45 was great because they got a lot of money. That's what they wanted. And then the pattern is, right, that the Republicans smash and grab the economy and the American people. And then the Democrats come in and fix it and make it better than ever. And then the Republicans get in and take all that largesse, all that money, and repeat. Well, guess what? Now we got a madman who's like, no, I don't want that. I want power. I want abuse of power. That's what I want. And the senators, the Republican senators are like, what? That's not what, we don't want that. We want to keep our power. We don't want to be lackeys working for some king. We have power and we want to wield our power. We're not going to just give up the institution of the Senate. to you. That's not going to happen. So now you see that these people are going to stand against him and make his life not very good. Now, of course, he's going to try to do everything he can outside of the typical powers, the congressional, power. Now, your question is, will we have her? And I think yes, 90% is what the spirit guides are telling me. 90% chance that she's going to get back in. Now, I think it's interesting that they say back in because she wasn't president before, that there's this sense that she was unseated, that she was stolen, basically is what they're saying. So they took it away from her. So they're saying she will get it back. So 90% chance that she gets it back, but not through the mechanism of saying that it was stolen. Instead, through a different route of this kind of unveiling of a plot to subvert the will. It's I don't know. It's a plot to subvert democracy or something, but it's not. It doesn't have a direct connection to the VOTESs. Okay, I could be wrong, but this is what I'm getting. It's more like a treason. It's more like a situation where they can prove that this person was treasonous. Okay. Now, as my understanding of the Constitution, if you commit treason, you don't have to have that proven by a court of law. Okay. So Lawrence Tribe, they're showing me this guy's Lawrence Tribe. He's a attorney, but he's also a scholar, a legal scholar. He's on a lot of like the different, media. But he said, and this guy is not the kind of guy that's used to saying anything that could be hyperbole, right? I mean, he is as about as milquetoast as it gets. I mean, he's a legal guy. He's not going to say anything that he feels is unsupported or out there. And he said, look, Colorado State Supreme Court said this guy can't be on our ballot because he participated, aided and abetted, whatever, a coup. The United States Supreme Court said, no, that's not true. By the way, the guides got all that right. But my point is that it's been documented by a state that this guy was involved in a coup, and that right there makes him ineligible to be president. And I think that's one of the options available to this situation, that gets floated out there. And in some way, it gets used. Now, they just showed me that one of the options is that 45 gets in, but he's almost immediately impeached. Okay. It's really possible. Honestly, it's very possible. And the people who are so triggered and so anxious ridden that you're telling me, Susan, nothing is ever going to happen. Well, then that's fine. That's you. You do you. I'm doing me. Okay. I'm telling you, we're in a different world now. A completely different world. He's become somebody who's a madman, who's an autocrat, who's an authoritarian. The senators are not going to give up their power. They're just not. They have a lot of power. Why would they do that? Right? So they're going to stand against him. So I give her a 90% chance. There's also another thing about some kind of treason, some kind of thing that gets revealed that is so damning and so real and so like the whole United States of America gets sick. Like that. It's that. Like I just get sick to my stomach every time I think about it. So I don't know what it is, but that this gets revealed. So the way I'm seeing the energy unfold is that he gets taken out of action because of his actions that make him ineligible to be the president. But they never touched the real situation, which is the disinformation and the ELECTION being stolen. Okay. So 90% chance she gets in, 10% chance he gets in. If he gets in, he gets out. The longest I see him staying in there is 18 months, but I don't even think he's going to last 18 months because I don't even think he's going to be alive for 6 months, to be honest with you. But even if Vance gets in, let's say that happens and Vance gets in, it's the same thing because Vance might try to pander. I'm seeing him pandering to the Senate. Oh no, I'm not that guy. You know, I'm normal. I'm good. I'm cool. But he says that out of his mouth, but then his actions are completely opposite. So the Senate's like, no, you're not. You just appointed, your cabinet is crazy. You're not normal. And I just saw, allegedly and for entertainment purposes only, Vance's fingers in a cookie jar. So he's also implicated. It's a twofer. You get one for free. You buy one, you get one for free. They're both out. Now, I would also tell you that when she gets in, I hate to say this, but it's no big prize because it's terrible. She doesn't have a working Congress. Everything is about the paradox. So even though these senators would stand against 45 and maybe be our saviors, right? Like, wow, like Liz Cheney, right? Like, wow, this person is really doing the thing. They're really helping us. Those same people in Senate, Thune, the McConnell, all those people, even though they're our savior, if 45's in, when Kamala Harris is in, they're our worst nightmare. So it's the paradox. This person can be your savior and your worst nightmare at the same time. It's duality. This is our lesson that we have right now. It's the same lesson with the VOTE being stolen, right? We can't say that they did it because they're saying that we did it. How does that make any sense? Why can't I say they did it? You know what I mean? If I have evidence, why can't I say that? The fact that they're blaming me doesn't mean that they didn't do it. But that's where we are in this totally like obfuscation fog of we don't understand duality. Sometimes bad people do good things and sometimes good people do bad things. I'm pretty sure we've all seen this in a movie somewhere. So let's catch up. Okay, so let's move on. So Abby wants to know what's going on with Elon. Will they nail him or prosecute him for treason? I still see him being ruination. The guides always say he's ruined. Basically, he loses his public standing, they're saying to me. He also loses his power. So this is something that they want to explain, that these people like 45 and Kennedy and Musk and the whole lot of them, for some reason I'm seeing Vivek, they want us to believe that they have so much power. And what the spirit guides are saying, it's like when you have a projector shining your shadow high on a building, but you're only 5 foot tall, but the projector makes you look like you're 27 stories tall. It's a projection. Their power is all projection. They don't really have any power. They don't really have any credit. They don't have the backup of the people because they never did. They got in power because of gerrymandering. They got in power because of suppression, of the BOMB threats that were only at Democratic stations on the day of from Russia. They only had power because they had $1 million payoff lottery to buy your VOTEs. They don't have this power. It's all projection. Okay. So Musk is going to be, she's going to be shown, he's going to be revealed as not having any power. I feel like there's a series of misfortunes that happen to him. Like engineers come out and say how it really goes down, that this guy is really dumb as a rock. Like, I feel like the first thing that happens is he's called out as being not very smart. The second thing that happens is he's called out as being not a good visionary, not a good manager, not a good CEO. He gets called out as being like they're showing me like an egotistic, like a king that would just throw fits, right? Like not a good person. He's going to be called out as being allegedly untrue, but what they mean is working to deceive. Okay, allegedly. Also, he's going to be called out as hampering and hindering contracts. Again, it's like everybody's ignoring the big thing in the room, which is the VOTE. Nobody wants to talk about it. All they want to talk about is you lied on this contract. You paid somebody to lie on this contract. So we're going to talk about everything but the VOTE, right? Because we want to solve that on the down low so that America continue being America. We don't want to look bad. We don't want to admit that we've got problems. Of course, this is our lesson. We have to admit it. We have to own it. You cannot continue to cover up our problems. They're just going to continue coming to the surface. This is why we had 45 when he said he's going to clean out the swamp. Well, he did. Yeah, we see the swamp creatures now. We see them all. They're running amok, right? He did what he was supposed to do. Now we need to do what we're supposed to do, which is to own it and give reparations and give apologies and give land back, give money back, and create new laws and policies around the peoples and the land that we have abused. That's the lesson. But in the end, Elon is going to get his. He's going to have a fall from grace. Now, I don't think he's going to be prosecuted for treason because I don't think he's a citizen. But he could. They're showing me, which is bizarre, but anyway, they're showing me that guy, Sam Bankman-Fried. God, they actually gave me all the words in the right order. They're showing me him like Elon is not too big to go down. He's not too big to be in prison. P. Diddy, not too big to be in prison. So yeah, I think this guy could really experience a fall from grace that is going to be spectacular. Okay, let's move on. I'm going to answer this question again. I think I answered it last time, but Michelle wants to know what's going on with Social Security, Medicare, and other programs. If 45 gets in, that 10% chance that he gets in, yeah, they got big plans. They're just plans. They can't do all the things they want to do because they don't have the support. That's what they talked about. This is a 5-foot tall guy. He's got a 50-foot tall shadow. It's projection. They don't have the power they think they have. So I don't see them coming in the short period of time that he would have access to power. I don't see him coming for Social Security and Medicare. I do see him getting rid of every kind of governmental program that he can through his executive actions. So if he could get rid of CHIP or he could get rid of whatever federal program that he can, he will get rid of them. I don't see him going for Social Security and Medicare in the short term. So let's move on from that. Lauren wants to know what's next for Kamala. I think she's going to be president. If she's not president, which again is no big, the guides want to say it's no big prize because the country is more divided than it was before. The Democrats are certainly divided. They weren't before, but now they are. The Democrats are infighting. Everybody's fighting. And she won't have Congress. So it's going to be a really nice gift for her, isn't it? To be president. It's going to be nice for us because we'll be able to deal with this with a sane person at the helm, which is going to be amazing. But it's still going to be difficult. It's still a difficult time ahead. Now, if she doesn't, I feel like, right. I feel like she still wants to be president. I don't know if you guys have this question, but the spirit guides have talked to me about this in the last couple of days, which is that could she be appointed to the Supreme Court? She doesn't want it. It's like watching paint dry, is what she says. She's such an action person, right? Like, let's do them. That's why I see her as a governor. Like, governor is action, president is action. So if she doesn't do the president this time, she's going to run again, but she'll be active in the meantime. She'll create a community of activism. She's going to create some kind of community, like online, or she's going to continue her community activism because it's important. She's not going to leave us. She's not going to walk away from the people. Okay, let's move on. Leslie wants to know, will NATO forces take down Netanyahu now that the International Court has issued warrants for his arrest after what has happened in Gaza? I've always seen Netanyahu's own people taking him down, meaning either his insiders, his special, whatever they are, like his Secret Service or whatever it is, taking him down, or an Israeli taking him down. Now, having said that, that's a pretty good, let's give that 85% probability. They're saying everything is probability because everything is free will. There is really a probability that somebody else outside of his inner circle or his countrymen does take him down. There is a probability of that. So in both those scenarios, I see him crossing over. Now, the third scenario is that he gets detained by a world court. He gets detained. How interesting. I had not seen that before. So yeah, there's energy there, the karma, the justice, whatever you want to call it, the spirit of justice is chasing him. It's not going to give up, you guys. This, just because I get it. Believe me, I get it. Like, we're all upset that Jack Smith has decided to drop the charges against 45, but the spirit never stops. The spirit of justice never stops. This is actually a good thing because now the case can continue. It's not double jeopardy. It's simply saying we're going to park it over here until this stormy weather goes by and we get a better opportunity. Then we're going to bring it back out again. It wasn't a defeat, right? So this energy is the same thing with Netanyahu and Putin and 45. The energy is coming for them because they're not in alignment with human free will. They're not in alignment with that. Look at all these dictators. How do they go down? They don't go down easy. They get taken out because they're not in alignment with the humans, with the free will of the humans. They're subverting human free will is what they're doing. And that puts you outside of the flow of the chi, right? So you cannot survive if you're not in the flow of the chi. And our chi is life. Of course, there's going to be, nefarious things in there. But when you're so far outside of that, you're not supported. And that's when you end up going away. Okay. Hopefully that makes sense. I don't know. I'm channeling, so I never know what I've just said. Let's see. This is a great question. Bruce wants to know, will an organized resistance form and who will be its leaders? Well, it's interesting because I had never seen this before until just now when I saw Kamala Harris creating, it's more like, instead of creating, what she's doing is scooping up communities. Remember all the Zoom meetings that everybody had? She's collecting all those people into one group. Okay. And she might give it to somebody, like, say, this person is going to run this. I approve of it, but I'm not running it. Okay. But I approve of this and I hope you'll join it. And then maybe even Obama and others also say, we hope you'll join this. Now, what's fascinating about this that I'm just now getting is this isn't called Democrats. This is not called Democrats. I don't know what it's called, but yes, it might be made of Democrats. It might be made of independents, but they're not giving their allegiance to the Democratic Party. This is fascinating to me because I never saw this coming. And so the way this group works is it has tenets, like it has like a manifesto. I don't know what else to call it, but it has like a platform. It says, this is what we're for. If you're for this, join our group. And, it's social safety net. It's all the Democratic platforms. But what I love about this is this becomes a real juggernaut, sort of like remember when Move On was really big? This is going to be bigger than Move On. We are going into Pluto and Aquarius, which is about communities. And this is going to be about a resistance, but also a community. And I see this community fostering groups like local chapters. This is brilliant. I hope this really happens. The energy is there. I feel like it hasn't grown to what I'm seeing right now, but I think that the possibility is very there for this to happen, to have local chapters. And your local chapter might be, well, my local chapter is focused on food insecurity. Well, my local chapter is focused on helping young people attain education. My local chapter is focused on this. And then together you come together with the bigger group and you sort of add all of that local, groundwork, canvassing, organizing, and you add it all to this bigger group. Holy moly. That's what's going to hold the Democrats' feet to the fire right there. So I think she creates it. I'm not even sure she would say she creates it because honestly, she doesn't want to have it. She doesn't want it to be her group. She wants to say, this is a great group and I support this. That's what she wants to see. She wants to be adjacent to it because it needs to be independent. But wow, what a powerful community that would be. Because as we go forward, and this is Kamala, she doesn't 100% agree with what the Democrats want to do. Let's do what we need to do. Let's not do what we always did. Let's be big vision. Let's fix our problems instead of the guides are saying they become fiefdoms. They become like you've been in the Senate for 30 years and it becomes your own personal fiefdom, your own personal kingdom. Okay. She's not about that. She's not about that because nothing gets done when you have an entrenched person. Even, I hate to say it, but even if they're a really good person, it's just too entrenched. You're not open to new ideas. You can't pivot. You can't, presidents, 8 years, you're out. You know what I mean? Why are we allowing senators to be in there until their 80s and 90s? It's just wrong. So I love this idea. And I really feel like she's hooking in with Obama because Obama was very much a community organizer. He brought that to his campaign. I know I was a precinct captain for my area when Obama first ran. I saw what he did, and no one has done it since. No one has done it since. We had kids coming from colleges all over the country to my little town. They lived in our houses. We fed them. We drove them to the airport when he won. I mean, it was like, I don't even know I've never seen anything like it. So she's going to be putting all of these different things together to help us from the ground up, because it's not just the Republicans, it's the Democrats that also have these entrenched ideas that are not working. I don't know who their leaders are. Now, I think that is, I hope I see this. I really hope it comes together the way they're showing it to me. But even given that, Bruce, I can see a lot of smaller groups because we are in chaos. The two words the spirit guides keep saying is chaos and extrajudicials, outside of the court. Going back to 45, not getting the presidency, they said, we don't need a court That's extrajudicial, outside of the court. Remember those two words. So going back to this resistance, chaos. Chaos will reign because we need change. And we've been resistant to change. And we need change. So chaos will come in to shake things up. And then we'll see what happens. So these extra or external, smaller resistant groups are going to be chaos agents, like Bernie Sanders is a little bit of a chaos agent in a sense. McCain was a chaos agent. He didn't always go with the Republicans. You didn't know he was the maverick. You didn't know what he was going to do. These are chaos agents. Well, and 45 is certainly a chaos agent. They shake things up. They shake up the status quo so you can see what's not working, because otherwise you would just deal with it, right? Okay, hopefully that answers your question. I thought that was interesting. CC says, will President Biden still pull more power strings before he leaves office and uses presidential immunity? I don't know if it's presidential immunity, but he is going to pull strings. He is not sitting on his hands, you guys. He's not. He's doing right now. I think he's working on a Middle East peace deal. I mean, I'm not sure he's going to get it done, but he's not going to give up. This is not a man who gives up. And I know there was this terrible photo of him laughing with 45 at the White House with that raging fire in the background. That wasn't a senile old man. If Biden is laughing that hard, you should pretty much be checking your pulse to see if you're still alive. Biden's like a multi-level Scorpio. You're never going to see the sting. Okay. So yeah, he's working hard. He will do everything he can they're telling me to balance power, or to fix the imbalance of power is the exact words in the right order. To fix the imbalance of power, he will do everything he can to do that. And he's not, I don't know. He's not beyond, everything is on the table right now. And seriously, that is what they said. Everything is on the table, meaning the gloves are off. He's rolled his sleeves up and he's ready to do whatever it takes. So yes. And another question is in here, how will Biden be seen? Well, I think right now people underestimate him. I know that the human version of me gets tired or I like Kamala Harris. I just like people that move faster or show me what they're doing. But Biden, it's not that he moves slow. He's moving in the darkness. We don't know what he's doing. So, but he will be seen as a historic president. He will be seen as the FDR of his time. He will be very respected, but it might take a while for us to get there, because I think when and maybe it is him, but I think when he reveals or unveils whatever is happening in December, he could have blowback on him. It's like he takes one for the team. Somehow it doesn't help him. It actually, I don't know. It's not good, but he takes one for the team. So let's move on. Did I already answer? I'm channeling, so I don't know. Barbara wants to know, if 45 gets in, how long will he be in? I think he'll be impeached almost immediately. Believe me, the senators want him out. So the longest I see him in there is 18 months. I do not see him in there like multiple, president for life. I don't see that. Again, senators are not going to give up their power. They've already telegraphed that by voting for a die-in-the-wool Republican and not a MAGA to lead the Senate. They've already done this by not approving Matt Gaetz. They're not following his lead. They're actually working against him. So the minute he gets in, if he does get in, they will start working to get him out. Laura says, if Republicans are in the White House the next 4 years, what will happen to Ukraine? Will they pull support and funding? So again, the world is seeing one more time that the United States is not to be counted on how many times did our budget negotiations stall and the money not go to Ukraine? So yeah, the world is going to come together. NATO is going to come together. Also, I'll talk about the fact that the head of NATO visited 45 in Mar-a-Lago, and that was to assess the madman. They're saying to find out what his game was, right? Like if you've got to negotiate with a madman, then you need to know what makes them tick so that you can sort of butter them up or use them or manipulate them, right? So if you're going to be working with a madman, you need to know what you're working with and what you might have to negotiate a better deal, right? So I think that what I see happening is I don't see World War III, but I do see a blow up, like an attack or a conflagration, some kind of like where the fire blows up, right? Like you have the grill and all of a sudden the fire blows up and you go back. You're like, whoa, right? I see that. But I also see a swift and determined response. Those are exact words the spirit guides are using. And I feel like it is NATO. And I feel like Poland has been itching from day one. They're just like, let us at these people. Because, and again, the Netherlands or Denmark, it's almost there. The name, the country. Is it the Netherlands? Is it Denmark? God. Anyway, it's one of those countries right there that has a border with Russia. That joined NATO recently. It's going to blow up. So expect a blow up and then expect it to just die down just as fast as it blows up. Okay. And as far as like the Ukraine future, I'm just talking to them because so if Kamala Harris gets in, then she's going to deal with them in a much more open and determined. Gosh, see, she gets blocked by Congress. That's the problem. Like, it's not the president just can't do whatever they want to do. I don't know why people are blaming Kamala Harris as a VP, even for Netanyahu, or any of this, because what power does she have? Zero. But she's learned some things from Biden about doing things in the dark. Let's just put it that way. She will work with other countries to supply information, intelligence, and things that don't have a price tag, that don't go through Congress. She will find a way to help them. Okay. Now, if 45 is in, well, then, you have what the words they're using as capitulation. So you have more pressure being put on Zelensky to give up the Donbass and all of that whole region right there that was annexed, and probably all of the area that was annexed by Russia. They'll give that to Russia, or they'll make a temporary annexation. Okay. It's about the money, you guys. So what happens is if 45 gets in, it's about the money, because look, somebody's going to make a lot of money rebuilding Ukraine. Somebody's going to make a lot of money rebuilding Ukraine. And 45 is all about that. That's what he did. He built things, he liked to have things. He would just make Trump towers everywhere. It'd be sick. It'd be horrible. But he would want to make that money. He would want to make that money. And I've said this many times, China is going to want to fund it. China's going to want to go in and be the contractor, to be the supplier of the materials. And if 45 is in, it'll be 45 in China. I promise you. If 45 is not in, I've always seen, and I've always said this, Ukraine is a phoenix rising out of the ashes. and I see amazing architects donating their time for free to design buildings. And I see Ukraine being rebuilt as a modern glass skyscraper kind of cities. And it's very high tech. Like everything is super, super high tech. And so that these are the two scenarios that can happen. Okay. But either way, this war is on the downhill slide. And the image I've always seen has been that that it's the phoenix rising out of the fire. I have not seen a 45 presidency with Putin gaining all that power. I just don't see it. It's just not there. Again, these are small men that are projecting this huge vision of themselves. It's not real. They can't even pull it off because it's not real. They don't have that real power. Okay, last question, because I've got a lot going on right now. Artist worried. I'm not going to say your whole name because it's long. You want to know, we must have substantial national cybersecurity prior to the midterms. Will this happen so that infiltration and manipulation is blocked? I agree with you. The 40% that Susan, this is the thing, the whole energy around the VOTE makes me so angry. And it makes me angry that they won't talk about it. It's like when you have we're in Thanksgiving weekend. It's like when you have the drunk and the family that comes to the family and they're sauced, but nobody talks about it. Don't anybody talk about, the crazy person that comes to the family dinner, or the person that's, you know what I mean? Like, not talking about this stuff, not owning it doesn't make it go away. You're just enabling, So that was me. That was Susan. Let's see what the guides have to say. The spirit guides say that it'll be safe, that lessons have been learned, that the companies, and I can't say their names because they're quite litigious, the companies that make the machines understand or will be made to understand that in no uncertain terms, that if they don't do what they need to do, they will be in front of a judge. And I mean a criminal judge, not a civil judge. They have been read the Riot Act, because they're saying you can change, you can make it more robust. And they're saying it's not that hard. Okay. So we know how it was done, is what they're saying. And we know who did it. So with those two things, we can make sure it doesn't happen again. Even if 45 is in office, they're saying it won't happen again, because this is criminal. It will be criminal. All the parties have been notified. We're investigating you. We might not arrest you today. We might not indict you this year, but we know what you did. Don't do it again, because we're investigating you. Okay. So that's, I'm telling you that the spirit guides have convinced me to have hope for the midterms. It's not going to be a lesson that we repeat. There will be other lessons, because we're learning. We might give our power away in other ways. This is also a lesson that we're all learning, in our personal lives with the bully energy. Where did you give your power away? Well, we might give our power away to some Democrat that turns out to be, a wolf in sheep's clothing, or we might give our power away to somebody who lets us down, right? We have other lessons to learn around the midterms. Even though they're not admitting that anything went on that was wrong, they know it. They know it, and it keeps them up at night. So it's not like by them not admitting that they're not doing anything about it. They're doing it on the down low. Okay. The next question, and then I'm going to close this video out, is from Marissa. And she says, any messages from Ivana? And I just read that, and she screamed in my head. That's why I'm laughing. He's guilty. He's guilty as F-U-C-K. That's what her message is. And she's saying something untoward about Don Jr. and the other one. I think she called him a punk. They're punks. They're terrified. Doesn't she have an accent? They're terrified of their father, and they always were. They're sissies. Yeah. He's going to get his. She just said he's going to get his. Back to 45. He's going to get his, and it's not going to be pretty. Wow. She's really mad. I think she said hers was relatively painless. Quick. She says it was quick, not painless. Quick. He won't be so lucky. Dang, Ivana. Poof. Okay. Thank you for watching. Really appreciate it. I will be back with more videos regarding politics. I also have my Wisdom on Wednesday, which is coming up this Wednesday, which will, if you watch the Wisdom on Wednesday videos, you can actually calm down and understand how to have a better life. And that would be helpful, wouldn't it? Take really good care. If you want to know anything about my membership, you can find it at SusanLynnMedium.com. You can also see all that information down in my in the description of this video. Take really good care. We're going to make it. Everything's going to be okay. Basically, I don't think the worst thing we ever imagined is going to happen. I just think it's going to be crappy, which is unfortunate, but better than the worst thing that you can imagine. But I'd still rather go through a crappy time with a great president. You know what I mean? So let's keep holding that vision in our mind so we can manifest it. Okay? I'll see you guys real soon. For entertainment purposes only.